Hello dear students, I hope you are enjoying these videos and you are preparing well for your course MCR 3U functions and you are learning nicely what functions are. We have already seen in the last two videos that how do we define a function, and then we have seen some examples, right? In the last video we worked on some examples for checking whether a given relation is a function or not. So in this video we are going to discuss important topic, which is how do we make a function notation. So what are the notations for functions? And before that I would like to tell you, if you want to write to me, you can write an email mail.mathsforall@gmail.com, and also in the description for this video there is a Google form, and if you want me to contact you, you can just fill that Google form and you can provide me the necessary information if you are interested in any of the services. So let us see what is a function notation. So see, we use this notation. F of x is used to represent the value of the dependent variable, the output, for a given value of the independent variable x, the input. So let me explain to you what we are saying. So see what exactly a function is. We have seen that you have some values of x, and corresponding to these values of x you have some values of y. We denote this as f of x. We call it as f of x, or f of x, or sometimes we call it as f at x, right? So what is the meaning is, for example, if you have some value of x and then this is the corresponding value of f of x, the corresponding value of the output variable. So we have x as our input variable and y, which is our output variable. We denote it with f of x just to show that this value is dependent on x. Okay, so we call this as independent variable, and this f of x we call it as dependent variable. Right. So we have independent variable x here, and then we have a dependent variable f of x here, or f at x here. For example, if we have f of x is equal to x square, right? So here this x is the independent variable, and then you have f of x is equal to x square, that is your dependent variable. And this is the notation I am using. It means that, for example, what will be f of 1? It will be 1 square, that is 1. And that what is f of 0? That will be 0 square, that is 0. What is f of minus 2? That will be minus 2 square, that is 4. So can you see what I'm saying here is that these are your input variables. So here 1, 0 and minus 2. 1, 0 and minus 2, they are input variables. 1, 0 and minus 2, these are my input variables. And corresponding value of y, that is, I'm writing it like f of 1, I'm writing at f of 0, and this is f of minus 2. Right, so this is the notation we are using. For example, if you have f of x is equal to x square plus 7, f of x is equal to x minus 7, f of x is equal to sine of x. Okay, so you can have anything. F of x is equal to x cube plus sine of x, and so on. Right, so in this way you can just have a function f of x, and this is the corresponding notation you have. Right, so I hope now you understand what exactly we are saying by f at x or f of x. So let me just make another picture so that everything is clear to you. So this is your independent variable x, so we denote it with x, and this is your dependent variable and we denote it as f of x. Right, so you can think of that a function is a machine. Basically this is a machine here, and you put the input x and you have the output as f of x. So this is the input here and this is the output here. Okay, so this is the notation. Basically this is the notation we are talking about. Okay, so now let us just discuss about some examples. So this is a situation which is basically this is interesting. You will love this particular problem. So here you look at the title. This is representing a situation with a function model. So we have a real life situation and we will try to use functions, right? That is interesting because everything we learn we should be able to apply in the real life, otherwise why we are learning that. Okay, so it's important whenever you learn some mathematical concept, you try to relate it with some real life example. So we have here a family played a game to decide who got to eat the last piece of pizza. Each person had to think of a number, right? So you have to think of a number, then you have to double it, okay, and then you have to subtract the result from 12. Finally, they each multiplied the resulting difference by the number they first thought of. The person with the highest final number will have the chance to have the last slice of pizza. So now the question here is, use the function notation to express the final answer in terms of original number. So you see, this is the real life situation we have. This is the real life situation we have. So let us try to just express it in terms of functions. So we say, suppose x is our original number we thought of, right? So you have to express the final answer in terms of the original number which a person thought of. So this is, suppose, your input, and this is the original number the person thinks. Okay, now see what you have to do. You have to double it. So there is 1, you will just make it double. So that is 2 times x. And then you have to subtract the result from 12. So what you have to do? You have to do 12 minus 2x. So whatever number you have to subtract it from 12. And finally, they each multiplied the resulting difference by a number they first thought of. So this is the first number the person thinks. So he or she has to multiply here x times 12 minus 2x. Okay, so this is the final output. This is the output. Okay, so now you understand what this particular real life situation, because you have to first double the number here and then you have to subtract the result from 12. So this is what we have done, 12 minus 2x, and whatever the difference is there, you have to multiply it with the originally thought number. So that is x times 12 minus 2x, right? So we have, this is as our output, right? So this is our output. So we will write it as f of x. Okay, so you can say that here f of x is x times 12 minus 2x, or you can write it as 12x minus 2x square, and we can write it in the more familiar form, right? So you can write it as minus 2x square minus, then you can write minus 2x, I'm sorry, so we can just take minus 2x common. So you have minus 2x, and then inside you have x minus 6. Okay, so this is the required function notation. This is the required function notation. Or you can also leave it here, 12x minus 2x square, right? So we just answered this part 1. Now we have another part which says the original number chosen by the family members are shown. Who will win the pizza slice? So there is Tim, the number chosen is 5. Ria, they chose minus 2. And then Sarah, they chose 7. And then Andy, they chose 10. So we have to see who will win the prize. Okay, we can't say that because this is the largest number, so Sarah will win, because we know that we have to compute f of x. So we have this as our x, and then we have to compute f of x, which we know is 12x minus 2x square, right? So let us compute. So here your x is 5, so it will be 12 times 5 minus 2 times 5 square. So what is it? So this is 60 minus 50, that is 10. And then you have here 12 times minus 2 times minus 2 square. So this is minus 24 minus 8. So this is minus 32. And here x is your 7. So this is 12 times 7 minus 2 times 7 square. So this number is going to be 84 minus 98. So this is minus 14. Right. So now you look at the last one. Last one is your x is 10. X is 10. So 2 times 10 minus 2 times 10 square. So this is 120 minus 200. So this is minus 80. Right. Now can you see which one is the largest number here? So you have 10 minus 32 minus 14 minus 80. So Tim has the largest number. So Tim gets to eat the last slice, the last pizza slice. Okay, so this is how we do it. Now we have another part to this problem. So what would be the best number to choose? Okay, and why? So we have to see what is the best number to choose and why. Okay, so you see your function is, you have your function as 12x minus 2x square, and I just told you that we can write it as minus 2x times x minus 6. Now if you remember, what is this picture? This is a parabola. And what kind of parabola? It's a downward parabola because you have a negative here and you have x square here. So it is a downward parabola. Okay. And if we talk about what is the zeros here. So this parabola will intersect x-axis when minus 2x into x minus 6 is 0. That is x is either 0 or 6. Right. And we know that. So it means that this is a situation that at x is equal to 0 and at x is equal to 6. This is x is equal to 6. X is equal to 0. So we have a downward parabola. And we know that vertex is in the middle of point of intersection with x-axis. Okay. So vertex, we know that graph would be a parabola that opened down, right? And then we have vertex is at the mid of where it is intersecting the x-axis, right? So we can say that we remember that x coordinate of the vertex is halfway between the two x-intercepts, right? So our vertex will be at x is equal to 3, right? And at x is equal to 3, what is the value? At x is equal to 3, f of x, that is f of 3, will be 12 times 3 minus 2 times 3 square. So this is 36 minus, then you have this is, how much is this? 18, right? So you get your 18 value as 18. Can you see? Okay, so so you get a parabola like this, right? So you have 18, 3 comma 18 is your vertex. So parabola goes like this. Let me make a nicer one. And this point here is 3 comma 18. So now you look at this function. So let me draw it again. So you have a function like this, passing through 0 0. This is 0 comma 6, this is 0 comma 0, and this is 3 comma 18. So your graph is not going up, right? So the maximum value which your function can attain is 18. Okay, so let us say what is the domain of the function. Domain is all possible x values. So domain is all real numbers, right? You can put any value of x. Anybody can choose any value of x. And what is the range? Range here you can see it will start with 18 and it can go up to minus infinity. It can go up to any value. So we can write it like this, minus infinity to 18. 18 including, right? So you write it like this, or you can write it as x is a real number such that x is less than is equal to 18. So you can write like this. So we know that the maximum value for the function is 18. So whosoever choose the number 3, okay, so whosoever choose number 3, he or she will get the last slice for sure. Now in this case we have seen that Tim has chosen the number 5, right? And you can see 5 is somewhere here, and then there was another, this is a number which Tim has chosen, right? 5. And then Ria, this is Tim, and then Ria chose -2, it's somewhere here. Okay, you can see that you will get the value here. Then Tim, it's here. And then for Sarah it was 7, and for Andy it was 10. So they are below, right? So Tim gets to eat the last pizza slice. So if there is somebody who choose 3, for sure he or she will win, right? So it means that the best number to choose is 3. So the answer to this problem is best number to choose is 3. Okay, and why? Because this is the corresponding to 3, the value of the function is 18, which is the maximum value your function can attain, right? So in this question, you see, we also learned how can we find the domain and range. That is very important, right? Although we will discuss it in more detail in the coming videos, but we already got a flavor of what do we mean by domain and range of functions. Okay, now there are some another examples. So basically in this video we are discussing the function notation. So here I have taken one example where we are connecting functions notation to a graph. So here I have plotted a graph. Can you see here already? So this is the graph of a function, right? And you are asked what is g at 3. So this is g of x, this is x, and this is g of x, and I am asking you what is g of 3. So you can just go at x is equal to 3. G of 3 means your input is 3. So I'll just go to 3 and then I'll go to the graph and see what is the value. So you can see this point is corresponding to 3. The value of g of 3 is 2. So this is 2. And then next is what is g of -1. So you know that input here is -1. So you just go to -1 and see what is the value of the function. So that is 0 because we are here only on the x-axis. So it's 0. Now the question is, it's the other way. Now you are given g of x is 1. So you go on the y-axis. G of x is 1. So you have to see what is the corresponding value of x. So you have to go on x-axis, which is 0. So this is 0. Now you have to tell what is the domain and range. Domain and range. Can you see? You can pause the video for maybe 30 seconds and you can find out what is the domain and range. So here you see domain is all the possible values of x. You are starting from -1 and you are going like this. So domain is all x greater than equal to -1. And what is the range? Range is all values of y, positive values of y, because your graph is not going down. So it is y greater than 0, greater than equal to 0, because 0 is also included. So you can write your domain like this, and range you can write like this. Y is a real number such that y is greater than equal to 0, and here you can write x is a real number such that x is greater than equal to -1. Okay, so this is how we do I hope you understand that what is the meaning of this. So basic aim for this video is you should understand this notation. That's it. So we have to just keep the thing simple so that we can work for small goals, and automatically you will reach to the bigger goals. So here you see I have another example. So I have given you two functions. F of x is x square minus 3x, and another function g of x is 1 minus 2x. So I am asking you to show that f of 2 is greater than g of 2. So that's quite simple. What you will do, you will compute f of 2. That will be 2 square minus 3 times 2. So that is your 4 minus 6. So that is your minus 2. And then your g of 2 is 1 minus 2 times 2. That is 1 minus 4. That is minus 3. So clearly minus 2 is bigger than minus 3. Okay, clearly minus 2 is greater than minus 3. Therefore, f of 2 is greater than f of 3. Okay. Now I have another one. You have to compute g of 3b. G of 3b. So what you will do? So you have g of x is equal to 1 minus 2x. Now if you want to compute g of 3b, so in place of x you will put 3b. So this is 1 minus 2 times 3b. So this is 1 minus 6b. So this is your g of 3b. Now the next one is you have to tell, the last one is you have to tell f of c plus 2 minus g of c plus 2. So we have that f of x is your x square minus 3x and g of x is 1 minus 2x. So if I ask you to compute this here, so what you will do? So f of c plus 2 minus g of c plus 2, what that is going to be? So here you will put in place of input as c plus 2. So here you will put c plus 2 square minus 3 times c plus 2, then minus, here you'll put c plus 2 in place of x. So this is 1 minus 2 times c plus 2, right? So what you get? So you can just use the formulas a plus b whole square. So this is c square plus 4c plus 4, and then you have minus 6c minus 6, then you have minus 1 plus 2c plus 4, right? And you can just see now c square is here, then you combine the c terms. This is 4c minus 6c, that is minus 2c plus 2c. Okay, I think we made some mistake. I'm sorry, it's 3c here, okay? Because when you multiply 3 and c, this is 3c here. So this is 4c minus 3c, that is 1c plus 2c, that is 3c. And then you have 4 here, 8 minus 6, that will be minus 2, minus 1, that is plus 1. So this is your final answer for this particular expression, right? So okay students, so takeaway from this video is that you should understand what is the meaning of f of x or f at x. So this is your input or independent variable, and this here is your output or dependent variable. That's it. Okay, so you keep on practicing, and if you have any doubts, you can write in the comment box, or I have given you a mail ID here. You can write to me, and if you are interested in any services, you can just fill the Google form which is given in the description of this video. Thank you. Happy learning. See you soon.